with something like this and like wrestling, MMA, whatever it is, right? There's the skill of whatever you're doing. There's also the skill of being a competitor. And, he's only fought 2 times against guys who weren't really all that high level. And so his skill as a combat athlete probably is not that high yet. And it's going to take a while to get there. And you see this even with guys in the UFC, they have 10, 15 fights and they still make stupid mistakes because they get in a pressure situation. There's adversity and they don't know how to handle it yet. And then you see them years later, right? And they handle that adversity a lot differently. They're more mature and they've been through it. And so like I've been through that for the last, I've been competing at a high level in wrestling since we'll say 17, 18 years old. I've been competing at, really high national level. So I've been through tons of adversity. And so it's like, hey, I may not have the boxing skill, but that doesn't mean I can't get in there and fight somebody, right? I've been fighting people for 20 years.
It doesn't mean that, but it might mean that you might not win.
There's a chance. So here's how I think about it. If he's actually a really good boxer, right? Like I went and was sparring with someone good, and what was that he challenged for world title at Freddy's. Okay. And it's like, I have no illusion that I'm as good as you at boxing. I am not going to beat you in a boxing match. If Jake's really, really good, I'm probably not going to beat him, right? But I think he's probably not really that good. That's what I think, for real.
Right? The nicest way to go about it.
It was. It's interesting. Like when he wanted to, he was almost like, you took all the wind out of my
sail.
sail.
Because I smirked. You're like, no, I was laughing because I was like, Ben, sell the fight, bro. He's like, I'm probably gonna lose.
But he threw it. No, I don't think he's. Listen, there's a chance. There's a chance he's really good. If he's really, really good, he's gonna beat me. I don't think he's really good. That's what it comes down to.
Why not? I got it.
Because he
Talk shit a little bit more, man.
He beat up.
You're trying to like fuck yourself up. You know what? I'm not taking your water back. I'm not getting the water.
He beat up a YouTuber and a basketball player who likely has never been in any type of fight in his whole life. So what about that makes him good? Really though?
That's a little better.
It's right. My answer would be, did nothing he did in his last fight impress you?
So it's like this. Like you wrestled, right? And you were actually relatively good. If I threw you in there against Jordan Burroughs, right? And even I'm really high level wrestling, I didn't have a chance against him. What would I learn about Jordan Burroughs? And the answer is I wouldn't learn much because the level discrepancy of the levels is so far apart and you're not good compared to him. So I'm not going to learn much about him, right? And so if he had fought someone good, we're going to learn something about him. He fought, I don't even know what the first dude's name was. He was a bum. And the basketball player, while he was a good athlete, looked like he literally, the first time he got punched, there was just like, oh shit.
That's what it feels like. That's what it feels like.
And it was like, to me, it was like, oh man, that guy really never got punched before. Like he'd never been hit. And so, when someone's in there against people of that level, I think it's hard to judge. Did he throw a good 1-2? Yeah, sure, right? But I mean, if no one's ever fought, lots of people can throw good 1-2s against them.
I just think, so Jake and I both are approaching that 3-year mark. Mm-hmm. With any sport, not even just sports, anything you do for 3 years, if you don't get somewhat good at it by that time, like stop. He's hit that tipping point, and I can confidently say this. He's hit that tipping point where he's not just a YouTube boxer anymore, and he's obviously on that mission to prove that.
Sure.
But my continuous rebuttal would be, he is at that point where he's a legit boxer now, and I'm sure you've seen on Instagram.
So, but when you say legit, is that like, he would challenge for world title? Is that he's going to be in the top 10? Is that like, where does legit go? What level is that?
Legit in the sense of, and we experience this every day. People come over and they think they're sparring a YouTuber, then they leave nose bloodied and having been knocked down 3 times in a casual sparring session. When I say legit boxer, I mean he's far beyond what his skill would be perceived.
So it's, obviously I don't know the boxing world as well, so it's kind of hard for me to judge levels. Like in MMA, what I say is this guy who's challenging for a UFC title? Is he like a UFC low-level fighter? Is he a regional fighter?
Yeah.
So I guess that's kind of like, it's hard for us to tell because he hasn't fought anybody. And so, hey, if he's really, really good, if he's genuinely good at boxing, he might beat me, right? If he's not good, if he's not that great, if he's not a high-level guy, he's not going to beat me.
He can definitely, we know he can strike. The story you're telling right now is one that I've been kind of in line with, which is we think he's a very good fighter, but the fact of the matter is we just haven't had the ability to see it proven yet. And that's just the fact of the matter. We've seen him fight 3 non-fighters, right? Not 3? Fighters on his.
Fight 2?
No, he's had 3 fights. Two professional and 1 amateur,
okay,
right?
Got it.
The good thing about this fight, in my eyes, and I've been saying this the whole time, is I personally believe that if he is able to step into the ring and beat an actual fighter, someone who has been bloodied up, has been dropped on their fucking head and gotten back up. We were at that fight.
Well, I want to talk about that.
We'll talk about that after. If he can win this fight, a lot of people are going to have to stop doubting him. A lot of people are going to have to say, yo, he just beat someone who fights for a living. Now, you're not a boxer, but you definitely learned enough about how to strike through your training for MMA.
Yeah.
I believe beating you would give Jake Paul enough credibility to continue telling that story.
Sure. And so, I mean, we both wrestled, right? And so you could probably relate this more. I mean, have you ever been at that tournament, right? And you see the kid kind of warming up, you're like, damn, he's kind of slick, you know? And you watch him drill and you're like, wow, he's good.
Yes.
And then you see him out there and then all of a sudden he's in the match and it's not going his way and he just does, and he's not the same guy anymore, right? He's a different guy.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I'm expecting, to be honest.